What's up, everybody? Superdukes fan here, and in celebration of 200,000 subscribers, I thought about how we have so many newcomers here on the channel, and I often assume that everyone's been along for the whole ride, and so they already know the answers to a lot of the frequently asked questions that I get from time to time. But I know that there's a lot of new people that probably don't know the answers to a lot of those questions. So instead of a car review this week, I'm going to be uploading little videos each day of some of my most commonly asked questions, and just giving you guys a lot of answers to things that some of you probably wondered about but never bothered to ask, and a lot of you have actually asked me and I have already responded, but just wanted to put this video out here for future reference for anyone that's curious. So the first video is going to be what camera gear I use. This is one of my most commonly asked questions, and I know that there's been a lot of people who probably wonder about it but never bothered to ask as well. And so, I know a lot of people are trying to start their own channels and things like that, and they're curious as to what all goes into filming a car review and what I use. So the first thing I want to say, though, because editing is even more important, if not as important as the actual filming goes. And so to edit my videos, I use Adobe Premiere Pro CS6. I started using that about a year and a half or 2 years ago, and I haven't looked back. It's really, really great, and it's very, very powerful. It's one of the ones that a lot of the pros use as well, and I've never had any issues or errors with rendering or anything like that. It's been flawless, and I absolutely love the program. As far as my computer goes, I'm actually still using a 5-year-old Dell Studio XPS 16, which is on its way out. It's it takes a little longer to edit than it should sometimes, and so this year I definitely am planning on hopefully getting a new computer that's obviously up to modern specifications to help me to edit stuff and be able to edit stuff in 4K and things like that down the road. So that's what I use as far as computer stuff, but I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the cameras I use. Alright, so if you can tell the difference in video quality, I'm now filming this on my iPhone because it's the only camera that I own that I don't use for filming the car reviews. So we'll just start here. The first things you might notice, the big things of course, are my tripod, which is just this generic Sun Pack that I picked up at Best Buy years ago. There's nicer tripods with better heads on them that allow you to do some cooler things and whatnot, but this actually works fine for my uses. Again, as you'll see with all my camera gear, everything is very simple, and I don't spend a lot of money on camera gear. So the next thing is this little slider. Now this one is a Glide Gear slider, and I think it was like 80 bucks or something on Amazon. Picked that up, and it's one of those shorter ones, so you can't get really long sweeping shots, but it's enough to give you a little bit of motion in the videos like you guys have seen in the intros and whatnot, and is nice to have that low angle. Now I added on this pivot head as well, so that you can get different angles and whatnot, and so that always works pretty well for me. And then of course you can mount this onto the tripod to get some slider shots up high, and that's how I do that. Other things you'll see here, this is my Canon T3i. This is what I use to film a lot of the higher quality stuff that you see. So the opening sequence shots for the car reviews is all filmed on this, and it's a really great camera. You got to make sure you get a really fast card so that it doesn't freeze up after filming for a few minutes, but it does the 1080p, and I picked that up used actually. I'm still using the kit lens, as you can see. I experimented with fancier lenses when I first got it, but honestly they didn't seem worth the money, and so I'm happy with the kit lens. In the future I would like to get something a little wider angle possibly, but again, the lenses are so expensive that honestly I can get by just fine with this, and I think that it's still pretty high quality. So that's what I use for those shots, and I also use this to film at car shows and stuff like that. But the stuff that I use for vlogging and also to film the interior part of the car reviews whenever I'm driving and talking is just this Sony Handycam, which you can pick these up for a couple $100. This is an older one I bought this back when I started filming The Dark Knight Rises back in 2011 or 2010 I think. So this is a 5 or 6 year old camera, and that's the great thing about Sony's, is these things seem to last forever. I mean, this thing has been not babied whatsoever. I mean, it's got some scratches and scuffs on it, but it has held up. It loses focus every once in a while now that it's getting old, but for how much I've used this camera, I mean, this thing has been responsible for probably I don't know, almost 1,000 videos or so. So pretty impressive little thing, and obviously will pay for itself very quickly. So that's what I use for all that stuff, and that's what I actually just used to film the first part of this video, and that's what I use for vlogging because it's obviously smaller to hold in your hand than this. So the other thing that I use, this is just a standard Sony Cybershot. These you can pick up for a little over $100, and these film full 1080p, and The only downside with this is the battery life on these is very short, but otherwise, I mean, it works pretty good. You know, it's got a tripod mount, so you can do that kind of stuff. I use this one for filming through the windshield for the on-road shots that you guys see in the car reviews. And that's all I really use it for, because like I said, the battery life is so short that after filming 2 car reviews, the battery in this is almost shot. So, but that's good because it's a good alternative to a GoPro, because, you know, I have the GoPros, but this is, you know, half the price. It's full 1080p. It's actually, some people might argue, better video quality, and it's still, you know, does a really good job, you know, for the instances where you don't need something outside. I keep that inside the car and doesn't have any issues. Next, though, moving on to the 2 GoPros I have. I've had this Hero 2, and that's what's been used, you know, for the past several years. The Hero 4 was just given to me this past Christmas by my lovely wife, and so I'm starting to use that for some more interior shots. This one, though, now is being used mostly for exhaust shots because it's an older one. If it falls off, it's not the end of the world. These GoPro suction cups have failed me a couple of times. There's one time you can go back, I was filming a BRZ video and it just rolled. It just fell right off the car. Normally it's in colder weather where those tend to fail, but it's been okay the past couple of years. But anyway, I just, you know, I have the Hero 2 and it has the Wi-Fi backpack with the extra battery on it, and so that is good for, you know, I can control it with a remote, so it's not running the entire time I'm driving. I don't have to get out and turn it off. I just hit the button and it'll stop recording. The Hero 4, though, is obviously very nice, better video quality, and has all the same stuff that this one does. As you can see, it's about half the size, so very impressive. And but those are not cheap at all. So, but that's what a lot of people these days do. They just grab a GoPro and just film, and that gets the job done for a lot of people just fine. The other couple little things, you know, people ask about suction cups. This is a Delkin. They're one of the better brands, and this is a dual one. I use this just to give a little bit of extra stability whenever I mount it with this for the car reviews, but it also will support a DSLR, so you know, that's sufficient enough. I know some people have massive, huge, elaborate suction cup mounts and stuff that are really crazy, like TV production quality stuff. Me, this seems to work fine. It's never fallen off with any of my cameras, and should be enough to get the job done. And then we have a single one, which is what I originally used, and that works fine with this camera as well. It's a little heavy for the DSLR. You know, DSLR is a little rough for that, but it's just fine for this because this is very lightweight, and so you can use that just fine. But now that is used with this on the windshields. And then the other thing is a lavalier mic, which is what I use so you can hear me better whenever I'm talking outside of the car. This is the one I used for a long time, the Audio Technica, and I still have it for any time I'm going to have more than one person talking. I'm currently using the other one, which I now have, which is a Rode Lav Pro or something like that. It's the one that I just plug them into my iPhone, and you hit the, you know, use the voice recorder on your iPhone or whatever, and it uses that to record the audio, and that gives you a better source, and you can walk around with it. You don't have to worry about any kind of radio signals. You just plug it into your phone, and you can, you know, walk anywhere you would walk with your phone, and it works just fine. So that is all the gear that I use. Hopefully I covered just about all your questions in regards to camera gear. I'll have other videos throughout the course of this week here answering other questions, such as you know, why my username is what it is, you know, Super WRX fan, as well as you know, a question why I don't own a WRX. So anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care.